My fiancée told everyone I refused to help plan the wedding. I'd been quietly paying every vendor in full, under her name. The day she called me lazy in front of her family, I forwarded the invoices to the group chat and canceled the wedding 24 hours before it started. Her reaction was priceless. I proposed to Olivia in October, sunlight bleeding gold through the last of the autumn leaves, a ring hidden beneath the napkin of her cappuccino saucer, and the kind of silence afterward that makes you think you've done something right. At first, it was sweet. She cried, called her mom, and held my hand with a kind of reverence that made my chest tighten. We told our friends. Her sister squealed. Her Instagram story lit up. And just like that, we were planning a wedding. Or so I thought. It started subtly, with phrases like, "Don't worry, I'll handle the small stuff." Or, "You wouldn't really know what kind of floral tones pair with soft pearl. Babe, it's okay." I didn't push. Honestly, I was busy with work, and she seemed genuinely excited to take the reins. I asked her early on, "Do you want me to handle the payments?" She shook her head and said, "Let me talk to the vendors first. Once they give me quotes, you can just transfer it. Makes things smoother." That became the rhythm. Olivia would go to the cake tasting, the dress fitting, the florist showroom. I'd get an email or screenshot of a payment request, always under her name. I'd transfer the money. No problem. But then I overheard something I wasn't meant to. Her phone was on speaker. She was in the kitchen with her sister, Danielle, laughing over something I couldn't hear clearly. Then Olivia said, through a chuckle, "I swear, it's like training a Labrador. He's sweet, clueless, and as long as you give him belly rubs and praise, he'll pay for anything." Danielle snorted. "You told Mom he wasn't helping with the planning at all." "Well, yeah. Makes me look like the martyr, right? I mean, I am doing everything." I didn't say anything that night. I lay in bed next to her and watched her scroll through Pinterest boards with a soft smile. I should have confronted her then, but I didn't want to believe what I'd heard. So I waited. It got worse. Over the next month, I started noticing strange patterns. She kept changing vendors. The original reception hall we toured and booked was suddenly too basic, and she switched to one that required an extra $5,000 upgrade. She insisted they didn't take cards, only wire transfer. But when I checked later, the venue's website clearly listed card payments. Another time, I paid a $3,800 bill for a catering company Olivia swore gave her a one-day-only discount. A week later, I got an email from the same company asking her to confirm the menu. No mention of any discount. I called them pretending to be her assistant. The coordinator told me their premium package was $2,900 and that the $900 surcharge was the custom edible initials she requested for each guest's dessert plate. I had never agreed to that. She never even mentioned it. So I began saving everything. Email confirmations, bank transfers, call logs, screenshots. I wasn't sure yet what I was building, but I knew it was something. Something that might matter later. Then came the dress fitting. Olivia claimed she was going with just her mom and 2 bridesmaids. A quiet afternoon. But later that day, her cousin, who didn't know I was in the loop, posted a photo to her private story of Olivia spinning in a mirror. The caption? She said yes to the second dress, $6K, and worth every penny. Except Olivia told me the dress was under $2,500. She'd asked for $3,000 just to be safe. That was the first time I felt it fully, not suspicion, not frustration. Contempt. The lie wasn't just in the money. It was in how easily she deceived, how casual the deceit had become. She didn't just want a wedding. She wanted a performance. One where she starred as the poor, overwhelmed bride and I, her silent ATM, played the forgettable supporting role. A week later, I got a call from the tuxedo rental shop. They were finalizing details for the groomsmen outfits. But here's the kicker. I hadn't chosen anything yet. When I asked them to forward the order, it was filled with premium customizations, luxury cufflinks, engraved inside collars, imported waistcoats. Total cost? Over $4,700. All under my name. She hadn't even told me. At that point, I stopped wondering if Olivia was taking advantage of me. I started calculating how far she'd go. When I confronted her casually about the costs, she brushed it off with a kiss. "Baby, I'm just trying to make it perfect. You'll love it. And besides, isn't this our one big day?" I nodded. But I opened a private spreadsheet on my laptop that night. Vendor by vendor. Every transfer. Every change. Every lie. The last straw came 3 days later. She emailed me a vendor invoice for $9,800, supposedly for the reception DJ, lighting, and effects. I called the DJ directly, again, posing as my own assistant. He told me he only charged $3,500. The rest? Olivia had added a live violinist for the cocktail hour and hired a personal event content creator to document her behind-the-scenes moments for the wedding reel. That night, as she slept, I logged into my bank portal. I stopped all pending payments. Then I called a lawyer I trusted. The lawyer I called was an old friend from college, Julian. We hadn't spoken in years, but when I told him the situation, he didn't laugh or interrupt. He just listened. Then he asked me one question. Is she dangerous or just selfish? I didn't know how to answer that. At first, I thought Olivia was just swept up in the fantasy of her perfect wedding. But the forged documents changed everything. Because that's what I found next. A contract, signed with my name. Except the handwriting wasn't mine, and I never agreed to book anything at Hotel de la Palma, a five-star venue we had visited only once before she scoffed. Too over the top. I'd rather have something intimate. And yet, there it was. A signature. My printed name. A $15,000 non-refundable deposit, tied to my credit report, my ID number, and my name as responsible party. I found the PDF in a shared Google Drive folder Olivia accidentally left open on her iPad. It had been uploaded the same day she told me she was going to a nail appointment with her mom. She'd forged my signature and submitted my identity documents, screenshots I had once sent her when we applied for a lease together. That was the moment something broke for good. This wasn't about flowers or dress fittings or ego. This was deception on paper, in a legal contract, with my name attached and money I never approved. I called Julian again. He immediately had me issue a written dispute to the venue and send an affidavit asserting forgery. We drafted notices to every major vendor, requesting updated documentation of contract signatures, payment history, and any authorization files. Turns out, Olivia had lied to them too. About who was paying, about who was signing, about everything. The cake boutique had been told to list Olivia James as primary payer, yet all payment came from my account. The custom jewelry for the bridesmaids had been purchased on my card, but when I called the vendor, she said Olivia swore it was her dad's contribution. The kicker? She had commissioned a live wedding painter for the reception. $2,200. Never told me. When I asked her casually about final headcount, she said, "Oh, I'm still deciding whether to invite plus ones for your side. They don't really vibe with my aesthetic." My aesthetic? She didn't even pretend to hide it anymore. Olivia saw the wedding as her stage. I was just the set designer. Still, I didn't explode. I nodded, smiled, and quietly collected everything. That same week, I created a secure folder titled _docs_all. Invoices, screenshots, emails, call logs, even photos, like the one where she posed holding a champagne flute at a vendor brunch she never invited me to. The caption? Solo planning. He doesn't care, but it's okay. I'll make it magical anyway. When I saw that post, I didn't feel hurt. I felt calm, because I already had a plan. By the second week of April, 2 weeks before the wedding, Olivia was at peak performance. She threw a bridal shower for herself at a rented rooftop garden. It was catered, decorated with thousands in floral arches and fake champagne walls. None of it was budgeted. I know because I checked every bank alert tied to my cards. She was using a second card she'd convinced me to open for joint wedding expenses. It was under her name, but with my credit. I paused all activity. Julian helped me freeze the card and send retroactive fraud alerts where applicable. It wouldn't stop everything, but it slowed her down. The next blow came when I dug through the revised contract from the original venue we had toured 6 months ago, Chapelwood Manor. Olivia had emailed them a contract amendment, increasing guest capacity, adding a firework display, and hiring a private valet service. The extra charges? Nearly $12,000. The signature on the amendment? Again mine. We had originally agreed to pay $8,500 for the whole venue. She had quietly inflated it to $21,000. And again, she forged my name. That night, I called Chapelwood, asked them to pull security footage from when the contract was signed in person. They had none, because she signed it digitally. I informed them of the forgery. I forwarded proof. Julian followed up with legal language about liability and financial fraud. The venue quickly shifted the penalty fees for cancellation from me to her. One by one, we went down the list. Florist, contract under Olivia's name. Full liability if canceled late. Shifted to her. Tuxedo rental. I had never even picked styles. She forged it. Shifted to her. Catering company. She requested last-minute premium upgrades without authorization. Shifted to her. Hotel de la Palma. Already processing the forged contract dispute. Pending fraud review. Total cost she now owed if the wedding were canceled? Over $31,000. All tied to her name. I hadn't spoken a word to Olivia about any of this. She still thought I was the passive one, the boyfriend who just paid and didn't pry. But in the background, every one of her decisions had been quietly unraveled. And then came the dinner. A week before the wedding, our families met for a final planning meal. Both sets of parents, some siblings, and Olivia's maid of honor, who had barely spoken to me the entire engagement. We were halfway through the meal when her mother jokingly asked if I was excited for the big day. Before I could answer, Olivia cut in with a loud laugh. He's just showing up to eat and smile. I swear, he hasn't done a single thing. He probably doesn't even know what color the napkins are. Her family laughed. Her dad nodded. Even my own mother smiled nervously. I didn't speak. Instead, I took a sip of wine, looked at Olivia, and smiled. That night, I drafted a single message. Just one. With attachments. Subject line: Wedding truth. Please read carefully. Recipients: Olivia, her family, mine, the wedding party, vendors, maid of honor, groomsmen, and her 2 cousins she gossiped with the most. The message? Simple. Attached are full payment records, contract screenshots, communications, and receipts for every wedding vendor, under whose name and whose money. Please note, all pending vendors have now been canceled. Further communication can be handled through legal counsel. Regards, L. I clicked send, then turned off my phone. By morning, my phone had 62 missed calls. 17 were from Olivia. The rest were split between her mother, her maid of honor, one of her vendors, who was now panicking about chargebacks, and 2 of her cousins who had apparently woken up to the group chat apocalypse. I didn't answer a single one. I wasn't hiding. I just didn't owe anyone an explanation. The truth was already there, line by line, dollar by dollar. Every invoice carried her name. Every payment came from mine. Every lie was silently strangled by proof. At 9:34 a.m., Olivia messaged me directly. What is wrong with you? Are you having a breakdown? This isn't how grown-ups handle things. Call me. Now. At 9:37, another. My dad just called screaming. I told him this is your fault. You're making me look like a scammer. Fix it. I didn't reply. At 10:02, her tone shifted. Baby, let's talk. Please. I don't know why you're doing this. Just come over and we'll figure it out. And at 10:15, one final message that told me I'd been right all along. You don't want to do this to me. I will tell everyone you're unstable. Don't make me go there. That one. I screenshotted. Saved to the same folder, w_docs_all. Within an hour, the wedding website was disabled by the planner. A mass text went out to 130+ guests. The venue marked the event as canceled in their public registry. Olivia's carefully manicured dream collapsed before lunchtime. I wasn't done. At 1:30 p.m., I walked into Chapelwood Manor in person. I handed over notarized paperwork confirming my refusal to be held liable for anything beyond my original and already refunded deposit. Their legal team had already reviewed the digital forgery. They assured me Olivia would be receiving the full cancellation fee notice within 48 hours. She had 7 days to pay. By 3 p.m., I received a call from the catering company. The manager, a calm older woman named Elaine, confirmed what I'd hoped. Olivia had requested last-minute menu changes and specialty cocktails just days earlier. All non-refundable. It's unfortunate, Elaine said softly, but these things happen. If it's any comfort, you're not the first groom who's walked away from a circus. I laughed, quietly, not out of amusement, out of relief. But the real fallout came that evening. I didn't go online, but friends sent screenshots. Olivia had posted a long, frantic Instagram story. Some people sabotage beautiful things because they don't believe they deserve happiness. I tried to create magic. I was planning everything. I was under so much pressure. And now I've been blindsided. Publicly. By someone who used to love me. Her comments filled quickly. But not with sympathy. Didn't you say last month you were covering all the costs? So wait. He paid for everything and you lied about it? You posted that story saying he was emotionally distant. And now he's the one bailing you out. The replies were brutal. One of her own bridesmaids commented, you told us he was freeloading. You told me to front the bachelorette party costs because he wasn't contributing. Are you serious right now? And the nail in the coffin? Her father's comment, posted on her wall later that night. You lied to everyone. To us. To him. You forged documents in your fiancé's name and treated him like an ATM. Do not come to the house. That one hit like a sledgehammer. I sat in silence and stared at the screen. Not because I felt joy. This wasn't triumph. It was justice. Cold and necessary. No fanfare. No parade. Just the truth, laid bare. Later that evening, there was a knock at my apartment door. I didn't need to look through the peephole. I already knew who it was. Olivia stood there, her makeup smudged, hair up in a bun, sweatshirt wrinkled like she hadn't slept. She didn't speak at first. She just held out a folder, the exact same one I'd sent to the group. Inside were printouts of every document. Her voice shook. You want me to say I'm sorry? I didn't answer. I panicked, okay? I just wanted the wedding to look good. I didn't think you'd actually cancel it. I thought that you could lie and get away with it. I cut in. She stared at me, eyes glossy. You don't have to make me pay for everything. I don't have that kind of money. I shrugged. You signed everything. You knew I couldn't afford this. You were supposed to help. I did help. I paid for everything. Until you forged my name. Now I'm helping myself. She started to cry. Not loud sobs. Not dramatic gasps. Just shallow, breathless tears. I'll lose everything, she whispered. No, I said calmly. You'll pay for what you spent. That's not the same as losing everything. She tried one last time. What do I tell people? I looked at her. Really looked. And I thought about all the months I spent believing in someone who saw me as a silent sponsor for her image. Who weaponized sympathy. Who forged contracts under the name of someone who trusted her. You tell them the truth, I said. The Monday after the cancellation, a letter was hand-delivered to Olivia's apartment from the law office representing Chapelwood Manor. It stated, plainly and with itemized clarity, that the forged contract carried a binding financial liability. The deposit was gone. The fireworks package? Non-refundable. The valet service? Already staffed and scheduled. The final line listed the cancellation penalty due, $14,750, payable within 7 days or legal action would be initiated. That was only the beginning. The catering company followed, forwarding a final invoice, $5,200 in unrecoverable inventory and staffing hours. Then came the florist, $3, $100 lost on imported blooms and custom arrangements. The boutique sent notice about the $6,000 gown Olivia had specially ordered in a rush. It was non-returnable. Engraved heels, too. And since Olivia had foolishly changed the shipping address for the bridesmaid's jewelry to her apartment, likely to keep control over the unboxing content for her social media, the $2,400 cost now sat in a neat, velvet-lined box on her dining table. Paid for by me. Now clawed back with a pending fraud dispute. In total, she was liable for just under $31,000. All because she wanted to curate a fantasy. She tried to spin it, of course, first to her family, then to her friends, then to the social media crowd she once dazzled with color palettes and champagne shots. But no version of the story held. Her own bridesmaids turned on her. One of them shared screenshots of Olivia joking in their group chat about how I was a generous idiot and how she planned to upgrade everything last minute and make him eat the cost. Another friend posted, anonymously at first, about how Olivia had lied about paying for her own ring when in fact I'd bought it entirely, and even let her use a fake receipt to prove her independence to her influencer friends. The mask didn't just slip. It shattered. I saw her one last time, a few days after the final cancellation notice arrived. Not by my choice. She showed up again, uninvited. This time she didn't cry. She didn't yell. She didn't bring folders or apologies. She walked into my apartment like it still belonged to her. You could have just broken up with me, she said softly. I didn't answer. You could have talked to me. You didn't have to destroy my name. I didn't destroy anything, I said. I told the truth. You destroyed the rest yourself. She paced. Her arms crossed. Her voice shifted, tone clipped and metallic. Do you think this makes you a hero? Ruining a woman because you couldn't handle her success? I actually laughed. Not loudly. Just a breath through my nose. Success. I replied. You were drowning in debt, Olivia. I paid for every plank you used to build your image. You weren't a bride. You were a scam with better lighting. Her lips twitched. She blinked hard. You made me look like a con artist, she said, quiet now. You made yourself into one. A pause. I could fight the penalties, she said suddenly. Tell them I was coerced. That you signed willingly and are changing your story. I raised an eyebrow. Then you'd have to explain how your handwriting matches the signature, and how none of the vendor calls are in my call logs, and how I was out of state the day that contract was signed in person. Shall I keep going? She didn't. Instead, she glanced toward the hallway, the place where the wedding dress had hung for weeks, visible through the crack in the bedroom door. She had taken it with her last time she left, but the indentation from the hanger was still there on the doorframe, like a scar. I loved you, she said. No, I said plainly. You loved the version of me that didn't say no. She stood still for a moment, then turned to leave. But before she reached the door, I stopped her. One more thing. She turned halfway, cautious. What? I reached into the drawer by the kitchen counter, pulled out a thin envelope and a set of keys. The lease for this apartment ends next month. I've already moved my things to a new place. You can stay here. I transferred the lease into your name last week, along with the remaining balance on the wedding card you maxed out. She stared at me, stared at the envelope, then slowly took it, not saying a word. It's all yours, I said. The address, the keys, and the debt. Her fingers trembled slightly as she held the metal. She looked down, then back at me. This isn't revenge. No, I said. This is consequence. She stared a second longer, then opened her mouth, maybe to say something, maybe to ask for some tiny sliver of absolution. But I didn't wait to hear it. I walked past her, out the door, and didn't look back. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.